John Carpenter's 1978 film Halloween is considered by many to be the gold standard of independent horror filmmaking. Known for its slashes, stabs, and grabs, the insanely low-budgeted flick has spawned a legacy of decades of sequels and remakes, and was the first film to introduce us to Haddonfield's most committed mascot, Michael Myers, as well as solidify Carpenter's talents as a visionary director.
But what exactly is it about Halloween, and Michael Myers for that matter, that make them so scary on a different level than most horror films of that era and today? We'd argue it's Carpenter's skillful building of realistic environments and characters, coupled with intense tension building and a character so mysterious, his very framing is enough to send shivers down our spines. Utilizing these tools at every turn of the film, John Carpenter was able to create a living, breathing machine of terror that took advantage of the safety we misguidedly feel every day. The safety of living in the real world where things like this don't happen. This is how John Carpenter brought fear home in Halloween.
We start with a long single-take scene of young Michael stalking his sister, Judith. The POV, or point of view, angle places us in Michael's position, allowing us to feel the danger and experience this specific type of power as a surrogate viewer. Also, fun fact, these shots in the film were done on a Panaglide camera system, not the more widely known Steadicam. Cool. As with most of the kills throughout the film, here Myers starts at a distance, slowly getting closer and closer, taking in information, until ultimately acting violently. The feeling we all fear of someone watching us and waiting for the right moment to harm us is weaponized through this structure and style. As a matter of fact, the slow zoom in on the pumpkin during the opening credits is representative of exactly this.
We, the audience, are Michael, absorbing these sexual acts before us. The difference is, we're trying to reason with what we're seeing, and Michael is not. We present motive, he does not. As Michael dons his clown mask, our POV changes, almost as if we're narrowing focus on our prey, having tunnel vision, a trance-like funneling towards death. Judith is completely naked, vulnerable. Just as the audience tries to make sense of being in this character's head, they're forced to watch this gruesome murder unfold in real time. We are being held captive with Michael. We leave this first POV shot when Michael is stopped by the arrival of his parents. Removing his mask frees us from being inside Michael, at least for now.
For the majority of the rest of the film, Carpenter begins cementing the reality of Haddonfield, using the Panaglide's free-flowing nature to give us familiar views of streets and locations that look like ones we've seen countless times before. We know these places. They exist. We may even live there. As an audience aware that we are watching a horror movie, we know everything is not as it seems, and this is how Carpenter uses the real world to turn fear into dread. Using these tracking techniques in tandem with some top-notch editing, the film pulls us deeper into the mundanity of a regular day. From stalking Tommy at school, following the girls in a car, and getting closer and closer to Lori as she walks off alone. The independent nature of the film, particularly its low budget, necessitated real locations as sets and actors' own clothes used for wardrobes. This adds to one of Halloween's key weapons in creating a realistic environment: avoiding movie sensationalism. In most Hollywood films, clothes are handpicked to communicate character, assisting the performances of the actors portraying them. The same can be said with sets, which can be designed and lit to attract the exact desired response from any audience, making it easier to pull them in. This is the escapist nature of film at work, where we can watch something we know isn't real and probably wouldn't happen quite like that, but we go along with it anyway because, hey, we're watching a movie. But the decision to be set in ordinary locations with ordinary people doing ordinary things both keeps the movie in budget, as well as layering us even deeper in the reality, making what comes next even more horrifying.
To be reminded of that during this building period, we are given updates on the status of Mr. Myers through Dr. Loomis's efforts to track down this escaped patient. Loomis, being the smart man that he is, chooses the most narratively convenient place to make a phone call. He then immediately, expertly, stumbles onto an abandoned truck from the Phelps garage. He finds Michael's clothes from when he was at the mental hospital, and as he leaves, we pan over to the bushes, where the driver of the truck is revealed, now a bloody corpse stripped of his jumpsuit. More of a post-kill, we can glean certain elements that will later come to define Michael's style in stalking and killing his victims. It's a kill in isolation, and we have no idea why he may have chosen this man as his victim. Of course, this unnamed mechanic does give ya boy 50% of his iconic look, a staple of his costume that further communicates his blank frame. From what we can tell, this poor Phelps worker's death only serves Michael as a clothing rack with a pulse, and his reward is to rot alone. We also get a brief moment later on at the old Myers house, where it is revealed that Michael may have gotten hungry and killed a dog for food. So yeah, murder number 3, the maybe eaten dog. This is not a nice guy.
He got hungry.
Each time before Michael kills, he stalks his victims. Not unlike his sister, and with kills later in the film, Michael is a bit of a peeping Tom, as during his long stints of staring, he is privy to seeing women undressing, shedding layers until they are in their most vulnerable outfit. Michael's deep stares and voyeuristic tendencies are his way of consuming data. In most cases, where the camera is, so is Michael. So as we learn the layout of this house, so does he. Realistically, if someone was trying to kill you, they'd study you first. Annie is locked in a car with Michael. Much like how we, the audience, were held captive during Michael's first kill, we're trapped in the car with him. No sound escapes, as she is strangled before getting her throat slashed. This kill can also be seen as a moment of clarity for the audience because it is the first kill that has no discernible motive. Why did he do that? What did she do to deserve to die? This increases the danger, anxiety, and stakes of the film. Michael Myers is just senselessly killing, without apparent motive, but not without purpose. His stalking and killing is methodically executed, but planned as he goes. His unknown motivation makes the character scarier, more dangerous.
I don't really believe in motive, Sid. I mean, did Norman Bates have a motive?
No.
Did they ever really decide why Hannibal Lecter liked to eat people? Don't think so. See, it's a lot scarier when there's no motive, Sid.
Bob is killed via a technique we see in many horror movies, the jump scare. Michael emerges from the closet, choking Bob and stabbing him into the wall. We angle on Michael as he stares at his work, shifting his head back and forth, maybe impressed, maybe upset. It's impossible to know, but it's the most emotion we see from him in the entire film. In line with the idea of normalcy being a catalyst of fear, we have an interaction between two characters that is a case of mistaken identity. From the audience's perspective, this is classic tension building. The audience knows who is under the ghost sheet. Our anxieties start at a higher point than Linda's. As she becomes more aware that something is amiss, her fear starts to meet ours. Michael's tactics are different with this kill, as he lulls his victim into a false sense of security. With this kill and Bob's, we see some of the very few instances of this character showing signs of character. What can the audience pull from these actions? He's potentially inquisitive, maybe he's not fully aware of his actions. He thinks like a human, he understands the concepts of trickery, but we also know this from his first kill. The way Alfred Hitchcock explains tension is giving the audience an understanding of the stakes. If we show them a bomb under the table, the audience is waiting for that bomb to go off. Michael is our bomb. The release of tension in a slasher film is with a kill. He strangles Linda with a phone cord as she desperately tries to contact Laurie. Another murder weapon that isn't anything special. Something normal in the home. This kill sets in motion the film's climax.
So now at this point, we understand Michael Myers to be an unknowable, unstoppable force. The boogeyman. The shape. Seemingly without mercy or agenda, we have no idea what his next move will be, or how he will go about enacting it. This is when Laurie, who still has no idea any of this nonsense has been going on, crosses the street to check on her friends. While Laurie throughout the film has been our alternate storyline to Michael's, now she heads directly into the eye of the storm, however oblivious she may be to just what exactly she is walking into. The entire movie we've seen her act cautiously, quickly studying situations before commenting or responding. But we've also seen her, understandably, shrug off the fears Tommy had about the boogeyman.
All right, The boogeyman can only come out on Halloween night, right?
Right.
Well, I'm here tonight. I'm not about to let anything happen to you.
Promise?
Promise.
And it is a return to this mantra that leads her down the path to confronting Michael. Bad things can happen, but not to me, and not here. Here, I'm safe. Nope.
Things kick off as Laurie sees her friends are arranged in a design that would make Will Graham's head spin. Laurie ventures through a one-room haunted house as she uncovers her dead friends all throughout the room. Despite the arrangement, there still doesn't appear to be motive, unless it's an action to disorient Laurie, putting her in a state of surprise so she is susceptible to getting murdered. We see Laurie and Michael trade blows in this sequence. Michael punches through a door to open it, leading Laurie to do the exact same thing. Cuts are responded to by stabs, and both characters wield this film's Excalibur, the iconic kitchen knife, another example of the ordinary turned deadly. When she flees from Michael, no one will help her. She is again isolated. In their final struggle, she pulls off Michael's mask, a move powerful enough to distract the Shape, leaving him vulnerable to be shot by Loomis. But
You can't kill the boogeyman.
the final shots of the film are stills of the neighborhood, with Michael's labored breathing over them. The shots evoke the feeling of a community shaken by a hurricane, a force of nature forever changing the landscape. But they also are a reminder of the events we just witnessed. Everything that happened in this movie has taken place in a setting as normal as your living room. Like how Jaws brings fear to the ocean, Michael Myers brings fear to the home. Halloween aims to capitalize on the anxieties of when we hear bumps in the night. Could it be nothing? Of course. Could it be an escaped mental patient with a taste for murdering teens? Entirely possible. What sells these fears is realism. There's no magic at play here, yet. No demons, just a simple premise. What if a man was a force of nature, a hurricane that blew through a suburban town on Halloween night? What kind of terror could this evil kick up? From Story Screen Presents, I'm Robby Anderson.
And I'm Mike Burdge.
And thank you for watching.
Every kid in Haddonfield thinks this place is haunted. They may be right.